are looking, of course, at tax and spending to ensure that we both have resilience against future shocks by ensuring we've got sufficient headroom.
A financial storm is brewing in Britain, and at the center of it stands Rachel Reeves, hammer in hand. As millions brace for what could be the most dramatic tax overhaul in a generation, the UK Chancellor is preparing to unleash a budget that could shatter long-held Labour promises. With the autumn budget set for November 26th, one thing is clear: tax hikes are coming, and no one is truly safe. Reeves once claimed she had stabilized the nation's finances. In her first budget, she raised taxes by a staggering £36 billion to fix the mess left by the previous government. But now, barely a year later, she's back, staring down a new fiscal black hole estimated between £20 billion and £50 billion. With long-term borrowing costs surging and economic growth crawling, Reeves is cornered. The UK's economic health isn't just shaky, it's limping. Reeves has promised to stick to her self-imposed fiscal rules, including a critical one. By 2029 to 30, everyday government spending must be funded by tax revenue, not borrowing. But that target is quickly slipping out of reach. Policy reversals, costly U-turns, and inflation have wiped out her previous £9.9 billion buffer. The consequences are already evident. The current budget deficit has ballooned to £71.8 billion, overshooting projections by £13 billion. According to Bloomberg Economics, Reeves now faces a shortfall of around £35 billion just to meet her main fiscal rule. The Office for Budget Responsibility is also expected to downgrade productivity forecasts by 0.3 percentage points, a change that could cost the Treasury another £20 billion. That means her once secure economic roadmap is now littered with warning signs and potential dead ends. This comes on top of a broader global economic uncertainty. Trade disruptions, interest rate volatility, and a softening global demand outlook have hit the UK harder than expected. And with inflation still biting and wages not keeping up, public frustration is mounting. Raising taxes isn't just an economic decision, it's political dynamite. Reeves has repeatedly pledged not to increase income tax, VAT, or national insurance for employees. But sticking to that promise may no longer be realistic. Even Prime Minister Keir Starmer has dialed down the certainty, suggesting those promises could be bent. Together, those three taxes make up nearly 2/3 of the UK's total tax revenue. So where else can Reeves look for cash? The options are limited and controversial, and politically, Labour faces pressure on both flanks. The Conservatives accuse Reeves of economic mismanagement, while the Green Party and other leftist groups are gaining traction among voters demanding higher taxes on the ultra-wealthy and stronger public investment. This balancing act may determine Labour's fate in future elections. One move already on the table: extending the freeze on income tax thresholds. It may sound harmless, but this fiscal drag means as wages rise with inflation, more people get pulled into higher tax brackets without a single rate increase. It's a stealthy way to raise billions, an estimated £7.5 billion over 2 years. Wealth taxes are also back in the conversation. Reeves has hinted at reforms targeting property, pensions, and capital gains. While she has ruled out a formal wealth tax, she's made it clear that the rich will be expected to contribute more. This approach aligns with rising public pressure. According to a recent Ipsos poll, nearly 2/3 of UK adults, including Conservative and Reform voters, support some form of wealth tax. The demand for fairness in the system is growing louder, and Reeves is listening. One risk Reeves can't ignore: capital flight. Her prior reforms to the non-dom tax status already pushed wealthy residents out of the UK. Add new wealth taxes into the mix, and the exodus could accelerate. Still, Reeves seems determined, recently telling Bloomberg TV, "I don't think we need a standalone wealth tax, but leaving the door wide open for increasing existing levies." Her messaging is clear: if you call Britain home, prepare to pay up, regardless of where you or your money originally came from. Many in the financial sector warn that further pressure on high earners could jeopardize London's status as a global financial hub. Already, hedge funds and multinational firms are exploring relocations to tax-friendlier environments in Europe and Asia. To raise revenue, Reeves is eyeing sector-specific taxes. One option is a higher levy on high-stakes online betting, expected to bring in £3 billion. Banks may face a windfall tax worth another £3 billion. She's also considering expanding national insurance to landlords and limited liability partnerships, raising £4 billion and lowering the VAT threshold from £90,000 to £30,000 to pull in £2 billion. These targeted measures each carry political risk. Critics warn of stifled business or lower investment, but with spending cuts unpopular in labor ranks, tax hikes remain the more viable route. Perhaps the most controversial idea gaining steam is a modern-day mansion tax. It could come in two forms: adding new council tax bans for homes over £1 million, or scrapping capital gains exemptions for primary residences over £1.5 million. With 700,000 such properties across the UK, the revenue potential is massive, but the political cost is high. Pensioners and long-time homeowners could get hit the hardest despite having modest incomes. Experts warn this could freeze the housing market and deter sales in high-value areas like London. The original plan was shelved over a decade ago, but pressure from the left of the Labour Party and the growing urgency of the fiscal crisis has revived the conversation. Reeves is under intense pressure not just from voters but from investors. Bond markets have already shown signs of unease, with the yield on 30-year gilts spiking to their highest level since 1998. The message is clear: keep your fiscal house in order or watch borrowing costs soar. To avoid market chaos, Reeves is doubling down on her fiscal rules, even reducing how often the Office for Budget Responsibility checks her progress. But in private, Treasury officials are scrambling to make the numbers work. She could slash some unallocated spending planned for 2029 to 30, saving £7 billion. But that's more of a fiscal illusion than a real fix. And deep spending cuts are a non-starter within Labour ranks, especially after recent backpedals on welfare and winter fuel payments. Meanwhile, the UK economy remains stagnant. Growth forecasts are bleak, just 1.3% annually, while inflation remains the highest among G7 nations. Reeves hopes to reframe growth itself as a fiscal tool, emphasizing productivity reforms and investment. But these changes take time. Her recent trip to Riyadh wasn't just diplomacy. Reeves is chasing a trade deal with the Gulf Cooperation Council, which she says could add £1.6 billion to the UK economy and raise wages by £600 million a year. That's a long-term play. Right now, she needs immediate cash. She also acknowledged the possibility of tweaking capital gains or inheritance tax, hinting that everything is on the table, short of explicitly breaking manifesto pledges. Treasury insiders say the budget is being written line by line, with late changes still possible. As Reeves crafts this budget, she is also attempting to simplify fiscal processes. By reducing the number of times the OBR assesses her adherence to fiscal rules from twice a year to once, she's seeking to create more stability and reduce policy churn. Labour's rhetoric about protecting working people is being tested like never before. Reeves is boxed in. Taxing the rich carries risks. Taxing the middle class breaks promises. Cutting spending sparks revolt. And doing nothing invites market disaster. The Chancellor has one of the toughest balancing acts in modern UK politics. She must raise an estimated £22 billion to avoid missing her own rules, restore investor confidence, and keep her party united. As November 26th approaches, every move Reeves makes is being watched by the public, by the markets, and by political opponents eager to pounce. What's certain is this: change is coming. Whether it's called a wealth contribution, a mansion levy, or a stealth tax, millions of Britons are about to feel it. And the hammer? It's already in motion.